Hello and welcome to Simon Says Artwork. In this episode I'm going to be learning to draw with my left hand number 8. It's Inktober, so I'm going to be doing an ink drawing every day this month. I'm going to continue drawing with my left hand even though I'm right-handed following an injury to my right hand. Now I mentioned in the last video that this is pretty much healed, but I'm going to keep this bandage on for the time being just to be mindful of how I use it. I'm still in my little black sketchbook here, and I think I'm going to do something a little bit more abstract. So, okay, let's get started.
Okay, first I thought I'd show you from my day out today where I was at an art exhibition, and it was a lovely coastal town called Carnarvon, and I got a little bit of footage here. So starting off, I'm going to pick myself a nice brush pen, and getting started, something a bit less figurative as I said in my intro. I was just going to start with some mark making. Now, as much as I enjoy hatching with a brush pen is quite a different thing to do than it is with a fine liner. It's harder to control the depth of the line, and I had a lot of temptation to just block out certain areas, so that became a bit of a pattern itself. Something where I'd start to do hatched lines and shapes and try to be mindful of the distance, and then doing horizontal strokes as well. I didn't mind some of the wavering in the lines. I thought that was quite interesting. It was almost a bit more organic, and I don't know, it reminded me of letters and kind of engravings, and I thought it was just quite a curious pattern that already started to begin from the beginning. Beginning from the beginning. So they already started to emerge from the beginning, and then just developing that and growing it around different areas of the page just turned it into something which I thought was quite an interesting patchwork. Now, in hindsight, I could have left a lot more areas blank, but I think sometimes the curiosity to see what happens when you completely saturate a page with a pattern or design can be overwhelming, and sometimes I need to just see what happens and what it looks like. And this is how you learn where you've gone too far or where things go to if you continue. Maybe if I could have continued further and made a lot larger dark areas, it would have transformed it again. But for this sketch, I just quite liked this repeated stroke that I continued to build up. I like the fact that there was a partial angle that started to develop towards the center. So I thought if I keep everything as horizontal and vertical as possible for the majority of the page, but then when it gets towards the center there is a slight lean to the right, and I thought that could be quite an interesting consistency with the other page, and that's what I ended up considering doing. So I thought I'll build up this mark making lean on the other page and then straighten it out a little bit, because I want to see what happens if only part of it leans. And I was also considering if I can use that transition in another place as well as just the center. So it was interesting to build on this pattern and texture that was developing, and I quite like it. I think the brush pen was really useful for this type of art, and I started to apply a different lean again. Instead of one which goes from the upper right to the lower left, I went the other direction, from the upper right to the lower left. Sorry, is that what I just said? Upper left to the lower right, which is the first lean that I did. Then I did the upper right to the lower left. And some of these marks are, as I said, they remind me of almost symbols or hieroglyphs or Far Eastern lettering, but I certainly don't know how to do any of that, so it was just mark making. If anything, I was thinking of stonework and brickwork and sometimes the mountains and things which I just see as patterns when I'm driving. But I wasn't trying to make it look like that. I just thought of how much I'd like to create this blanket texture which covered everything. And I started to notice how I'd left a little margin on the left hand side, so I thought if I cover that up, then I will have this effect that I was hoping to achieve. And it was just a case of perseverance from that point and trying to ensure that I didn't do anything which looked like a letter F or H, and keep it so that it was varied and unusual like it is. So yeah, that's where I got to, and I don't know, I quite like it. What do you think?
Okay, so that's the drawing done. Now, I quite like things like this, where it's a complete patchwork of marks and it's just an abstract piece. I think it's a real nice breather between the other pieces, which are a lot more figurative in nature. And just to have something come up where it's just like, boom, the whole double page being just different marks and patterns, just to make a whole different texture on this splash page, I think would be really nice and a bit of a refresher for flicking through a sketchbook. So I quite enjoyed doing that, and it was nice to practice the strokes with my left hand to make sure that I could do them a little bit more fluidly, and just trying to relax a little bit more and still become more dexterous with my left hand. So that was good practice in my view. I hope you liked this. If you did, then please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, share this with any friends and family. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.